Gloria's Radio Productions presents Dear Donnybrook, the continuing story of the loves and losses, the friendships and deceptions, the despairs and delights of the residents of that mysterious place called Donnybrook. Previously on Dear Donnybrook, during the Founders' Day celebration, a young woman arrived in Donnybrook. Introducing herself as June, the young woman befriended several of the leading citizens of the town, all of whom were pleased to welcome the young mother-to-be. Barbara von Micterboten, however, remained unconvinced that June's intentions were pure, especially when the young woman claimed to have married Barbara's only son, Jimmy, tragically lost in the wars. Episode 2, Reading the Buttons. Some people look to the stars for answers. Others gaze into a crystal ball, and still others read tea leaves in their quest to discover answers. In Donnybrook, the ladies of the Button Society look to the time-honored tradition of the reading of the buttons. And so, as morning breaks over Donnybrook, Gloria finishes her morning tea in her stately Victorian home on the bluff overlooking the town. The quiet of the morning is broken only by the arguments of Gloria's daughter.
Gloria, what do you mean she stayed here all night?
Oh, don't be so melodramatic, Bobby. The girl didn't have any place else to go, and you certainly want much help.
What should I have done, Mother? She shows up here in town, and I should believe everything she says just because she claims that...
Because she claims to have married Jimmy?
If my son married that girl, he would have told me.
Would he?
My precious son would have told me.
What if he married the girl and didn't have the chance to tell you?
I would know because I would feel a connection to her unborn child, and I don't. But I haven't told you the worst of it. She broke into my home last night.
Oh, what are you talking about? She was here all night.
Hello. Good morning.
Who was here all night, Gloria? That nice young woman, June.
She stayed here all night.
Not all night. She broke into my house.
What? Oh, you don't know that.
Gloria, you had to sleep sometime. She probably left then.
What makes you think she was in your house?
Some of my son's things were moved in his old room.
Maybe you moved it and didn't remember.
No, I haven't changed anything since he...
We know, Barbara. We all lost so much in the wars.
Well, how did you know it was June?
Who's June?
That nice young woman who arrived in town yesterday.
Speaking of June, I'd best go check on her. How did June get here?
Only 2 ways to get into Donnybrook.
Or out.
Either over the hill or across the river.
Or the freight train.
No trains ran yesterday.
And most folks stay away from the river ever since
Gloria's husband, Bob Jr.
Ever since Bob Jr. got lost when he was down there fishing.
My mother never talks about that day.
It was a tragedy for the town.
It was.
Gloria says there are soldiers across the river.
Gloria says a lot of things.
Oh!
Moments later, in the kitchen of Gloria's Victorian house on the bluff overlooking Donnybrook.
Thank you for letting me stay the night, Gloria. I don't know what I would have done without you.
Now, dear, I have a lot of ladies here for our regular meeting, and I was wondering if I could impose upon you to go down into the bakery and pick up a baker's dozen of those new pastries Constant was talking about yesterday, the love buttons.
Of course. But I really don't know my way around town very well.
I thought of that. I have a map right here. Just follow the path on down the hill, turn at the post office, and be careful of the tricky bushes. Today they should be in front of the gazebo, but it's noon, so you should be all right.
Tricky bushes?
Oh, yes. A little bird first warned me about the tricky bushes.
As Gloria rejoins the Button Society of Donnybrook.
Gloria, Barbara was telling us about that woman staying here last night. Do you think it's safe to have her around? Barbara says the girl broke into her house. She said she moved some of Jimmy's things in his old bedroom.
Oh, Bobby says a lot of things.
Where is June?
On her way to town. She's going to that bakery for some of those love buttons.
But I've closed the bakery to come here.
Of course you did, but I needed to get her out of the house.
I wish you were here with me, Jimmy. Everything you told me about Donnybrook is true. The sky is the bluest of blue, and the air is so clear. It's a lovely town. And the sunshine on my shoulders makes me happy. But... How odd! I thought Gloria said the bushes would be here, but they are on the other side of the street. Did I get turned around? What? Oh, I'm being silly. Just silly June. Oh, Jimmy, everything you said about your grandmother Gloria is true. She is something else. Some of the folks here seem friendly, Jimmy, just like you said. But I guess some of them still have questions about me. Oh, how I miss you, Jimmy, and oh, I miss you both.
While on the bluff overlooking the town, the Button Society of Donnybrook gathers on the lawn in front of Gloria's home. Through spyglasses and a telescope, the ladies vie for a good view of June as she strolls through the streets of Donnybrook.
Oh, she noticed my shop is closed.
Let me see.
Oh, you've already seen.
She may come back here now that she knows the shop is closed.
May I have a turn with the binoculars?
It's an opera glass.
Oh, Constance, you twit. It's a spyglass. We're spying.
If we're going to do anything before she comes back, we should probably get on with it.
Definitely.
Across town, Father John Michael has settled in for a day at JT's pub.
Here you go, Father.
Thank you, lad. So what do you think brings the Protestant fella in today?
Hello, Tony. Father John Michael. Tony, I brought that reading material I mentioned. The literature about alternative beverages for pubs.
Thanks, Pastor Dan. I'll look at it later. Can I get you a cold glass of milk?
Funny thing about milk. We're always getting fresh milk, but many a sermon's been retold since I've seen the likes of a cow in these parts.
When I was in the wars, we had milk pills.
Aye, I heard about such. Turns a plain glass of water into milk, it does.
That's right.
I'm glad we don't have to rely on that now. It's good to have fresh milk. I always say there's nothing better than tipping back a cold one.
At last we agree on something, laddie. Here's to your health.
Father John Michael, you spoke to the new lady who arrived yesterday?
Oh, a fine lass indeed.
Someone came to Donnybrook yesterday?
Indeed.
A fine lass with a wee button in the oven.
You mean bun?
I say what I say, and I mean what I mean, lad. The lass calls herself June.
Did you say June?
Aye.
I once knew a woman named June.
While back on the bluff, the ladies still watch.
Oh my, where's June headed now?
Louise, I'll give you a half a dozen of love buttons if you let me use the spyglass right now.
Tempting me with pastries usually works, Constance, but... Oh my, June is headed towards the railroad tracks.
The railroad tracks?
She can't go over there by herself.
No one goes to the other side of the tracks alone.
I don't think she's helpless.
But that's where the carnies live.
Oh, worse things than carnies.
Gloria, I don't know why you're always sticking up for those carnies.
Not everyone is born to wealth like you were, Barbie. Some people have to earn their keep.
But carnies?
Shouldn't we warn her?
Through the spyglass and telescope on the bluff, the women of the Button Society of Donnybrook watch as June crosses the railroad tracks to Carneytown and enters the rarely visited Von Michterbuten Button Museum, housed in the historic Van Michterbuten Button Factory of Donnybrook.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hello.
Welcome to the Von Michterbuten Button Museum, the best, the greatest, the only complete resource in all the world about the history of that most wonderful of wonderful inventions, the button. Donnybrookans thank the town founder, the late, great Mr. von Michterbuten, for bringing us to this wonderful parcel of green earth. Legend has it, he followed a glimmering button in the sky to this valley of raging rivers and beautiful bluffs. Of course, it was later discovered that a bug flew right into his spyglass. But if you repeat that story, remember you didn't hear it here.
Of course.
Yes, my dear, I could tell you tales of this town that could warm your heart or sour your stomach.
While back on the bluff, the women of the Button Society wonder about Donnybrook's sweet, expectant young visitor.
How do we know any of what that June, says is true?
There's really only one way to find out.
You mean?
Yes, I think we should.
It is, after all, the oldest tradition in Donnybrook.
How did it begin?
We shouldn't always question the traditions.
Are we ready?
Yes, Gloria. Please, read the buttons for us.
Shake them good, Mother.
Barbie, how long have I been doing it?
We respect you as the button reader, Gloria. Please just tell us.
What is our question?
Is my son really the father of that baby? Well, Mother?
Yes. And no.
What?
The answer is uncertain.
The button reading was inconclusive.
Whatever that means.
Time for you to leave. Ladies, go on. I mean it. Out. Okay, little buttons. One more time. Just you and me. You know what my question is. Oh, I see.
What secrets are trapped in the von Michterbuten Button Museum? And why is Tony so melancholy about a woman he once knew? And what did Gloria foresee in her reading of the buttons? Tune in next time as we discover more about the secret lives of the citizens of Donnybrook.